learn the history of video and audio on the web, different formats of video and audio that are supported in HTML5, how to embed audio and video on a website, and then fallback options for older browsers or unsupported platforms. In this lesson, we are going to talk about how audio and video is handled in HTML5, and then later in the lesson, I'll actually show you how to implement it. But first, I want to talk about the evolution of the web. What happened was back in the early days of the internet, we weren't really designing the internet to be used for things like multimedia. So things like pictures, videos, audio, those weren't supposed to be embedded in HTML documents originally. HTML was just strictly a means to transfer information, and we could provide attachments. So I could actually allow you to link to a picture and download it, or I could let you link to a video file and download it, or audio and download it. And then you had to play it on your computer. There was no such thing as streaming back then. So what happened was, back in the early to mid 1990s, you had to actually download the entire video file before you could play it back. Same thing with audio. In the late 1990s, several streaming video formats came available. One of the prominent ones was Real Player. But what happened was each one that came out was a proprietary format, which meant that I had to have a third-party plugin installed on my computer to be able to play the video. And the large amount of different streaming video apps that came out meant I had to have every one of those installed on my computer. In 2003, Macromedia, which is now Adobe Systems, created Flash video format. What they did by creating this format is they actually made it where people could record videos and embed them directly in Flash player objects. You could actually put a video on your website. Well, then YouTube came out and kind of solidified its foundation. So what happened was, by YouTube coming out and the FOV format coming out, now we have a video format that works for all of the devices on the web. Once again, it's a third-party application, so you had to have the Flash player installed. So in 2010, Apple made the decision to stop supporting Flash on iOS devices due to large amount of battery usage, and also due to more processor requirements for it. In 2012, Adobe announced that they were going to stop supporting Flash on Android. So what this means to me is that many of the websites are moving away from using Flash because most of the devices that are being used to browse web pages are now mobile devices that don't support Flash. These are going to be things like our cell phones, our tablets, and even other operating systems that don't support Flash. There are many different distributions of Linux that have no Flash support. So prior to HTML5, if I wanted to get video or audio on my website, there was no official standard way to do it. So what we did was we used what was called an embed tag or an object tag. And we still use these today for compatibility. But what happened was different browsers would render these differently. So what would happen is I had to embed my video or embed my audio object onto the page, and it was up to the browser and how it wanted to render it. All right, so it was also up to the browser to determine what formats it supported. So what happened was I would put a video file out there in MP4 format, and some computers could understand it. Well, I'd also have to put it out there in QuickTime format and whatever other formats that were out at the time. I'd have 5 or 6 different video files that I had on my server that I had to actually have those separate files. And then what would happen is the browsers would pull the one that they actually needed. That's a lot of work for me because now I have to maintain 5, 6, 7, 8 different video files on the server just to host one video file. So what happened was Yahoo offered what they called their embeddable media player, and they made it possible to play media formats just by simply embedding a JavaScript applet on your computer. On your website. And what happened was it would go through the page, it would look to see what all files were on the page, and Yahoo would actually stream them through their servers. It made it real easy as a web developer. The problem was that Yahoo decided to stop support for it back in 2014. They now made it a community project. You can go and download it, but you have to host it on your own server. In HTML5, video and audio is directly supported in the standard. So what this means to me is that now I just simply make one means to display the video on the page, but one of the things I need to consider is that different browsers and different operating systems still understand different types of videos. So I still have to maintain different videos. That's not changed. All right, but what I need to do is I'm going to use just one tag, and it looks like this, and it's video. And if you notice, it's a container object. So what I'm going to do is state the video, it has a width and a height, and then it has controls, so you can do things like play, pause, fast forward. And then we have different sources. So what we tell it is the source for this MP4 file is this file, and its type is video/MP4. So what happens is the browser will go through this list and say, okay, well, I support OGG files, so it's going to skip down and use this one to display that video file. If the browser gets down through all of these different sources and does not find one that it supports, then this text here would be displayed stating that your browser does not support this type of video. Different browsers support different types of video formats. If you notice, Internet Explorer supports MP4, Chrome, Firefox, and Opera support the three major ones. You have MP4, WebM, and OGG. But if I want to get Safari to play an OGG file or WebM, I need an add-in. Same thing with the Internet Explorer. I need some sort of helper application installed. So I'm still kind of stuck with trying to figure out what browsers will support it. But if you notice, MP4 is going to be the most common. They could all support it. But MP4, as far as somebody that makes an application to read it, they have to pay royalties for it. Audio, on the other hand, has much better support. Now, audio files, you have MP4, WebM, and OGG. Most of the browsers will support all of these for audio. What I want to do is I want to provide what are called fallback options. So let's say I create a video for my website, I put it on the page, and somebody comes to the website that they have a browser that does not support the video object. Then what I need to do is I need to have some way for them to still watch the video, and I can either just ignore it, I can state, sorry, you can't watch the video, or I can do things like I can still include the Adobe Flash version, so I can have the FLV. I can do a third-party plugin, so I could do things like Real Media. They do actually still support streaming. I can require you to install an additional browser add-on or even a separate application. So I could say, hey, you have to download this program to be able to look at the video on my website. That's not a good option because some people can't install applications. On the other hand, they may be looking at it from a tablet that doesn't support that app. So if I absolutely have to have this video where everybody can watch it, then what I can do is I can purchase a third-party media server application. It's actually a physical box. It is a server that all I do is I upload the videos to it. It will convert it to whatever format the user, their browser understands. And then as the user comes to the website, it'll automatically serve the correct version for them. These are expensive, but they will work all the time. We are going to incorporate a small video in our website. To do this, I have first created a videos folder and I included a couple of files. And I have an MP4 version and an OGG version. I created a new file called video.html, which once again is just simply a copy of our template.html file. And for the purpose of this lesson, this video is open for Creative Commons. It is completely free to use. However, the requirement is that you have to specify copyright for the video. The video that we are going to use is a portion of Big Buck Money. So I have to provide a copyright snippet here for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to include some code that will allow me to actually embed this video directly on my website. To tell the browser that what is following is going to be a video, I am actually going to create a video tag. And the video is going to have a size, so I can do width is equal to something or another. I can do height is equal to something. And the only catch is I need to know my actual proportions for this. So I need to check my video file. And I can look at the properties of it to see the original size. And so the original size is 320 pixels wide, 176 pixels tall. So I want to use this. So 320, 176. Now, if I want, I can increase the size of it. The problem is when I make the video too big, then the next thing that happens is it will stretch out the video and it gets blurry. And I may or may not want that to happen. All right, do I want the controls to be turned on? Yes, I do. And what this does is makes it where they can stop, they can pause it, they can make it full screen if the browser supports it. Okay, so this is a video tag. It contains some things, so it does have a closing tag. And then what does it contain? Okay, so it's going to have a source, and the source is equal to videos/mov_bbb.mp4. Its type is MP4 file, so it's going to be a video of MP4 format. All right, I have another source, which is also going to be videos/mov_bbb.ogg. Its type is going to be equal to video of type OGG. And then for the people that have a browser that does not understand what to do with this, I can say something like, your web browser does not support this video. So now what it will do is their browser will look at it. It says, oh, hey, here's a video. We're going to make it this size. It will allow you to have controls. And it will go through the list, and it will go to the first one. Do I support MP4? No. All right, go to the next one. Do I support OGG? No. Well, the browser doesn't support it. Well, if it goes through the list and it finds one that it supports, then it will use that one. So by doing this, what I am doing is giving the browser multiple video files that it can use to display on the page. So I'm going to save it, refresh my page, and now I get an item that shows up here. Now the thing is that I am using an ActiveX control inside of Internet Explorer, so it does block it by default. It's only because it's running on my computer. If I allow it to run, then it will allow the video. If I actually had this hosted out on a website somewhere, my security settings would be different and it would have just automatically let it run. But now I have my controls, so I can play it, I can pause it, I can make it full screen. Oops. And so now what I can do is I have a video that is on my page that I have controls, and I did not have to do any special embedding. I didn't have to do anything special to make this show. All I had to do was just simply provide the source for each of the different video types. Audio would work the exact same way, except instead of stating video here, I just simply state audio, and audio is not going to have a width and height. That's the only difference. All I have to do is specify the source for each of the different versions of the file, state that it doesn't support it for browsers that don't support it, and that's it. It's exactly the same as displaying a video. What's really nice about this is I no longer have to try to figure out how the different browsers are going to handle the video, how different browsers are going to try to handle audio, and I just have to memorize one format for how the controls actually get displayed on the page. It makes it real easy on me as a developer to try to figure out how to display a video on everybody's website. In this lesson, you learned about the history of video and audio on the web, different formats of video and audio that are supported in HTML5, how to embed audio and video on a website, and different fallback options for older browsers or for unsupported platforms.